Hello guys, welcome back to our channel Mo and Ash Vibes. In today's video, we are going to cover the IELTS reading question type table completion. In this question type, a table is given to you with some missing information. You have to find this missing information from the paragraph. The best strategy to do this question type is that first, before reading the paragraph, you study the table and see what exactly the table is about. And then what is the missing information about? What exactly do we have to look in the paragraph? This way you would also know that whether you have to look for a verb in the paragraph or a noun or an adjective or an adverb. So what kind of words you have to look for. After you've studied the table, then you start reading the paragraph to look for the answers. When you are reading the paragraph, you have to keep few things in mind. The first thing that you have to keep in mind is that the information you are looking for might not be present exactly the same way. Sometimes they use a different sentence structure in the paragraph, or sometimes they use the synonyms, or the same kind of information has been said in a different way, but the meaning remains the same. So you have to look for the meaning of the things. The second thing that you have to keep in mind is that when you are trying to look for the answers, you don't have to read everything in detail. You should just scan the text, and the moment you find that okay, this seems like something that I was looking for, or the moment you find the keyword, then that part of the paragraph you should read in detail. In this video, I'm going to explain you how to solve this question type while solving a sample passage for you. The sample passage that we are going to solve has been taken from IELTS.org. We have also made a detailed video on IELTS reading module. So if you have any more questions related to IELTS reading module, you can refer to that video. I have provided you the link in the I button as well as in the description box. So let's get started with this question type. I am going to show you a paragraph on your screens along with the questions. You can pause the video and go through the paragraph, go through the instructions, go through the questions, and then I will let you know how to solve this question type. So now let's see how we can solve this question type using the strategy that I just told you guys. So now this is a table where some information is given to you and some of the information is missing. Now we have to find this missing information from the paragraph. Now, as I told you, that the first thing you should do is that you study the table. So now if we go through the table, we can see that they are talking about species. They are talking about their size, their climate, preferred climate, and then the complementary species, then their active period, and then the number of generations. And then the species they have given French, Spanish, and South African ball roller. And then some of the information is given and some information is missing. So now when we are going to go through the paragraph, we will have to look for this information. So we are going to see that where in the paragraph they are talking about these species, about their size, their climate, and then their active period, their complementary species, and the number of generations. So now when we are going through the paragraph, we can just scan the paragraph, and the moment we find any of these words that we are looking for, that is the time when we have to read in detail. So now let's go through the paragraph again together. We can see that in the first paragraph, they are just talking about introducing dung beetles into a pasture and its process. So nothing has been mentioned about the things that we are looking for. Similarly, in the second paragraph, they are talking about how dung beetles dig tunnels and how big are those tunnels, how deep are those tunnels. But again, nothing has been mentioned about something that we are looking for. So just by scanning the paragraph, we know that the first two paragraphs do not contain any information that we are looking for. So we won't waste our time reading the first two paragraphs in detail. We just scan the first two paragraphs. Before we start reading the third paragraph in detail to look for the answers, remember what you read in the instructions. So according to the instructions, they said choose no more than 3 words from the passage. So which means that maximum you can use 3 words for your answer. So keep that in mind while you are looking for the answer. So now let's read the last paragraph in detail. So if you look at the second line of the last paragraph, it says in the cooler environments of the state of Victoria, the large French species, 2.5 centimeters long, is matched with smaller, half this size, temperate climate Spanish species. So this tells us that first thing, that the French species are 2.5 centimeter long, that has been already mentioned in the table. Then the Spanish species are 1.25 centimeters long, that has been mentioned again in the table, because they said that the Spanish species are half the size of the French species. And then they said that French species preferred climate is cool. However, the preferred climate for the Spanish species is temperate climate. So which means the correct answer in this case would be temperate. So the answer to the number 9 question is temperate. Now we continue reading the text to look for the next answers. So the next line says, the former are slow to recover from the winter cold and produce only 1 to 2 generations of offsprings from late spring until autumn. So now when they're saying the former, so which means they are talking about the French species. So now in the very next line they say the latter they were talking about was Spanish species. So now whatever is coming is about the Spanish species. The latter which multiply rapidly in early spring. Now when they're saying multiply rapidly, it means that that's the time when they are active. So it means the same. Now in this case, if you see, they are talking about the active period of the Spanish species, which is early spring. Now they have not used the exact same word which is mentioned in the question, which is the active period. Instead, they are saying that it multiplies rapidly in early spring. So as I said to you while I was explaining you how to solve this question type, that you have to focus on the meaning of the words, because they might not use the same word, but they will say the sentence in a different way which would mean the same. So in the question they are looking for the active period for the Spanish species, but in the paragraph they are saying that they multiply rapidly in early spring, which means the same. So the meaning here remains the same. So the correct answer in this case would be early spring. So now the line continues and it says that it produces 2 to 5 generations annually. So here we have also found the answer to the question number 11, which says that the Spanish species produces 2 to 5 generations annually. So the correct answer to the question number 11 would be 2 to 5. Now let's read the next line. It says the South African ball rolling species, being a subtropical beetle, prefers the climate of northern and coastal New South Wales. Now, when they're saying being a subtropical beetle, it means that their preferred climate is subtropical. Although they haven't really used the word preferred climate, which means they haven't really said that the preferred climate for these species is subtropical, but they have said the same thing in a different way, which is why I mentioned to you that the meaning of the sentence is really important. So you should not only look for exact words but also focus on the meaning. So when they are saying that being a subtropical beetle, it means that they prefer the climate of subtropical nature. So which means the correct answer in this case would be subtropical. Now we continue reading the same line. The South African ball rolling species, being a subtropical beetle, prefers the climate of northern and coastal New South Wales, where it commonly works with the South African tunneling species. When it says that it commonly works with the South African tunneling species, so it means that it works well with those species, which means the same as the complementary species. So now again in this case as well, they haven't really used the word complementary species exactly, but when they are saying this line that it works with those species, it means the same. So again in this case as well, focus on the meaning of the sentence rather than looking for the exact same word. So the correct answer for this case would be South African tunneling species. So now you can either write it as South African tunneling or you can also write just tunneling, because both the answers would be considered as correct. However, you cannot write just South African, since there are two kinds of South African species. One is the ball roller and the other one is the tunneling species. So either you write South African tunneling species or you write just tunneling species. So you saw that how easy it is to find the answers if you are following the instructions and if you are following the strategy that I've just mentioned. So if you read the table before, then you know exactly what you are looking for, so you do not waste your time reading the entire thing in detail. You can just scan the text, and when you find the relevant information, that is the time when you read in detail. So the correct answers for the question number 9 is temperate, for 10 is early spring, for 11 is 2 to 5, for 12 is subtropical, for 13 is South African tunneling or just tunneling. So basically through this question type, they are trying to assess that whether can you scan the text or not, or whether you can understand the meaning of the text, the gist of the text. So can you understand the synonyms, can you understand the paraphrases, and then also if you can read in detail to find the answer. I know a lot of students really get scared of the table completion question type because they feel it's really complicated. However, it is not complicated at all. If you are using the right strategy, it is actually pretty simple to find all the answers. You just need to take care of a few things. Some of those things are that first, understand the table before actually reading the paragraph. This way you would know what information you have to look for in the paragraph. Second thing is that when you are trying to look for the answer, do not read everything in detail, or this way you are going to waste a lot of time. Instead, try to skim the paragraph, scan the paragraph. When you feel that you have found the relevant information or the relevant keyword, then read that part in detail. This will help you save a lot of time. You just saw, like in this passage as well, when we were reading the passage, we did not find any answer in the first two paragraphs. Only the last paragraph had all the answers. So if we would have read everything in detail right from the beginning, we would have wasted a lot of time. So in this case as well, the strategy was to skim the text. This way we would know that whatever information we are looking for is not present in the first two paragraphs. So let's focus on the third paragraph. So that's how you should do it. Third thing you have to keep in mind is that when you are trying to look for the answers, do not just focus on the exact word or exact information, because that information will be in the text, but they might use synonyms, or they might paraphrase it, or they say it in a different way which would mean exactly the same. So focus on the meaning of the text. So as long as you are taking care of these things, you would be able to find the answers. And also, once again, I know I've said it a lot of times, but I would just repeat myself because it is extremely important, and a lot of times people actually miss this, that read the instructions properly and make sure grammatically whatever you are writing is correct. Because if they have asked you to use certain number of words but you do not use that many words, let's say if they have said in this case choose no more than 3 words, but instead you use 4 words, then in spite of the fact that your answer is correct, it would be considered as wrong since you did not follow the instructions. So these are little things, but they are really important. Now I'm going to end our today's video. I hope that this video was useful for you. If you have any more questions regarding the video, feel free to comment in the section below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please hit the subscribe button, like the video and share the content. Now I will see you in our next video. Until next time, ta-da!